Hola vídeo de YouTube, bienvenidos a The Stanley Parable, juego que en realidad no sé nada de él. Recordad que todo esto se está realizando en directo a través de YouTube y a través de la plataforma morada que no puede ser nombrada. No sé nada del juego, voy totalmente virgen, dicen que es un juegazo. Dicen que es un juegazo, Matt, que está en el chat, dice que es un juegazo. Lo he oído de más gente, que es juegazo. Y esto ya me vuela la cabeza, ¿no? Que empieces, que tengas el menú principal y tengas un ordenador que a la vez es tu ordenador, que a la vez tiene un ordenador y así en bucle infinito, pues nada, parece ser que el juego seguro que va de este rollo, ¿no? De cosas de bucles y tal y cual. Y si es así, pues bueno, ya veremos. The end is never the end. Is loading the... Vale. Acaba volviendo por primera vez como el cel, como sería verte de viaje. Oh, vivan los bucles. Entonces tú, Mai, me estás viendo en el móvil. Click to skip. Esta es la historia de un hombre llamado Stanley.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
Vale.
Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
Vale.
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk,
Vale.
telling him what buttons to push,
Vale.
how long to push them, and
Vale.
in what order.
Vale.
This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Escribe con un dedo. Apoca está entre semana. Sí, soy.
Something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened.
Escribo con dos dedos.
Complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong.
Vale, ¿lo habéis entendido?
Frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Vale. Para empezar, ¿se puede poner subtítulos? Hubiera estado bien esto, ¿eh? Descriptivos y en castellano. Pero bueno, básicamente nos cuenta la historia de Stanley. Stanley es una persona que trabaja para una corporación muy grande. Es la persona número... es el trabajador número 427 de esta gran corporación. Y su trabajo consiste en apretar botones, los botones que le dicen, el tiempo que le dicen. Y eso es básicamente su día a día, hasta que un día no llegan órdenes de ningún lado, nadie llega a decirle nada pues ni de reuniones, ni nada, ni tareas que hacer. Y literalmente lo último que ha dicho, que es lo más importante, ha dicho: hasta que Stanley se levantó, que es lo que ha pasado, y fue consciente, ¿no?, de que podía hacer otras cosas. Vale, pues mira, tengo que reiniciarlo. Básicamente, lo último que ha dicho es... creo que lo va a volver a reproducir, ¿no? Es posible que lo vuelva a reproducir. Pero siguen sin estar los subtítulos. ¿Dónde están los subtítulos? ¿Y los subtítulos? Bueno, da igual. Básicamente, ha narrado lo último que hemos hecho, que es movernos y salir de la oficina. Es lo que nos ha dicho. Así que vamos a salir de la oficina, ¿no? Este es nuestro somos el 427. Hola. Activados. Lo desactivaste, pringao. Ahora ya no lo he desactivado. Descriptivos. Desactivado. Normal. Ok. Atrás. Reanudar partida. Ahora. Vale, pues a la meeting room. ¿Dónde estará la meeting room? Vale, ahora sí. Se para de vez en cuando. Sí. Lo estoy viendo. Lo estoy viendo. Lo estoy viendo, sí. Pues nada, lo siento mucho, chicos. Hoy tiene que ser día de chill porque es que si no voy a dejar de hacer directos. Lo siento si me veis mal. Siento si se me ve raro. Lo siento, de verdad, ¿eh? Pero es que si me pongo ahora a mirar cosas, me voy a volver loco. Lo siento mucho, de verdad. ¿Qué he hecho? No. ¿Sí? No pasa nada. Lo siento mucho, gente, ¿eh? De verdad lo siento. Pero es que si no, me vuelvo loco. Literalmente loco. ¿Vale? O sea, si tengo que estar pendiente del directo, algunas veces irá bien, otras veces irá mal. Ya lo solucionaré cuando pueda. No sé qué está pasando últimamente con Twitch. Vale, vamos a la sala de reuniones, ¿no? O sea, literalmente nos ha dicho que tenemos que ir a la sala de reuniones. Pues vamos a la sala de reuniones. Sí, un poco backrooms, ¿no? Que lo ha dicho... Lo ha dicho... Vale, dice que entramos en su puerta de izquierda. Pues entramos por la puerta izquierda. Tiene pinta de que... No, ahora... Vale, por ahora todo normal, ¿no? Ok. Vale.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Vale, entiendo yo que será por aquí, ¿no? Para arriba. Claro, tiene pinta... Tiene pinta de que va a ser de tomar decisiones, ¿no? Me parto el culo. No está, ¿no?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him.
Claro.
And so the boss had assigned an extra secret pin number, 284. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
¿En serio estás de broma?
Anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Como no le he dejado terminar, me he echado la bronca, me parto el culo. Pensaba que estaría muerto o algo. No, 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 no. Vale, nos salimos, ¿no? Del esto. Es como que nos estamos saliendo del videojuego. ¿Puede ser que sea eso? Rarete, ¿no? ¿Qué ha pasado con la chimenea? Que se ha abierto. ¿Por qué? Vale.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape. No, no, no. Seguimos, seguimos. Por ahora vamos a seguir al narrador, ¿vale? Hostia, loco, ¿eh? ¿Y ahora qué? Hostia, qué barbaridad, ¿no? Son las 11. Las 10 en Canarias, sí. Es tarde hoy es tardecito. ¡Oh! Ahí estoy yo. ¿Y esa? ¿Te imaginas que dice que te fijas en una rara o algo así? Buah, locura, ¿eh?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Blindly?
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control.
O sea, creo que ya he pillado que me está controlando con... El narrador me está controlando, ¿no? O sea, ni siquiera he dudado una de las decisiones que ha tomado el narrador.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Vale, ¿y cómo lo apago? Habrá como... Ah, un botón rojo aquí grande, ¿no? Ah, pues no. ¿Aquí en el 5? ¿No? Pues aquí, ¿no? Facility Power. Vale. System Power on.
He found the source of the room's power. He knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Se va a reiniciar, ¿no? Y vamos a volver al bucle. ¿O eso se ha acabado?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
¿Qué? No, no, vuelves a empezar, ¿no?
He had won.
No.
He had defeated the machine.
No, no, no.
Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange
¿Por qué me está leyendo la mente?
sunlight streamed into the chamber? He realized none of this mattered to him.
Speedrun, no creo.
Or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go.
Va a tocar Fed, sí.
Tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know.
Nah, nah, nah.
It was
Nah, 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 nah.
the
No ha acabado. Va a empezar ahora, ¿no?
Stanley stepped through the open door.
Venga, ya.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
¿Ya está? ¿Se acabó? Completar el juego. No jodas. Uy. Madre mía, cómo estoy últimamente con los gallitos, Y ya está. Vale. ¿Hemos vuelto a empezar? ¿O es la misma partida? Hola, perdón por llegar un poco tarde.
What could it mean?
Hola, Mark.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
Vale, es igual. Sí, es de... Vale, es otra... vale, ok. Es todo el rato el mismo bucle. Vale, ok. ¿Qué tal, Mark? ¿Cómo estás? Oye, ahí no he podido entrar, ¿no? ¿Cómo puedo entrar ahí? Prueba cosas diferentes. Ya, ya, ya. Sí, sí, sí. Quería saber si el juego era consciente del bucle nuevo o simplemente empezaba. Ahora ya lo sé. De que es el mismo bucle. O sea, es un bucle. Entonces, o sea, que empieza de nuevo, vamos. Vale, pues ahora por la derecha primero. ¿Qué está pasando?
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to
Este juego se llama Stanley Parable y es un juego de leerte la mente, más o menos. ¿Vale? Soy Stanley, un trabajador de una corporación, y todo el mundo ha desaparecido. Y pues tengo que descubrir qué ha pasado, digo yo. Colapso cerebral, un poco sí.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Vale, ahora voy a hacerle caso.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
¿Puedes volver? Mira, vamos a ver. La meeting room, ¿no? Igual. Stiggy, relájate con los copies.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
Vale, pues ahora voy a ir para abajo.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
¡Un coche!
Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy.
¿Qué?
And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all.
Estoy en un puto bucle.
And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating?
Sí.
No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled.
¿Cómo puedo salir de este bucle?
Oh, what a relief Stanley felt.
Ve para atrás. No me deja abrir.
His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
Hostia, loco.
I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well.
¿Puedo ir marcha atrás?
I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently
Experimenta y explora, pero fluye por ti mismo. ¡Que estoy flotando! ¡Ah! Que es lo guapo, hombre, claro.
And it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing.
theApoCa, te recomiendo un juego chill para jugar aquí. Sí, nunca he estado en esta causística, flipo. ¿Alguien sabe inglés? Yo sé inglés, sí. Yo también me estoy mareando, yo también un poco. Vale, en algún momento vamos a salir del bucle, ¿no? Digo yo, espero. Hostia, ¿no puedo salir de aquí o qué? El café de Cherry estaba en el suelo.
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream.
Yo no, yo estoy empezando a no confiar, ¿eh?
Magical stars just a moment ago. How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just, he would prove it.
Parece más pequeña la sala, ¿no? Algo sí que creo que está cambiando. ¿El techo se está haciendo más pequeño?
And he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin.
Se ha dormido.
Press of the mattress on his back.
Se va a despertar en el bucle otra vez.
Share of a world outside this one.
A ver.
Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be
No.
over.
Te
Go
drogaron.
back to my
Sí, era más grande, ¿no?
Let me continue
Yo creo que era más grande.
buttons. Please. It's all I want.
Déjame continuar. Estaba presionando botones, por favor, para. Buah, esta noche no duermo, creo, ¿eh?
Exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Se ha dormido el narrador. ¡Hostia, que se ha despertado en el mismo sitio! Stanley, cabrón.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss, I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real.
No puedes saltar.
I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Ah, vale. Vale.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
¿Mariela?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the
¿Se ha
sidewalk.
muerto?
And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments,
Ese soy yo,
she
¿no?
considered the strange man.
Stanley, ese es Stanley.
Crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't.
Vale.
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day.
Y se va.
Very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career.
Deja las drogas.
The rest of her life.
Yo si fuese Stanley le hubiera robado el bolso a la Mariela.
So it was
Está
only
muerto.
a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Y se acabó, ¿no? Bueno, otra vez empieza. Vale, pues ok. ¿Dónde hemos ido ahora? Antes no ha sonado ningún teléfono.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you and have a pleasant day.
Hostia, qué bueno, tú. O sea, es un mensaje grabado para advertir del peligro de los mensajes grabados. Ay, Dios, qué bueno. Vale, hemos ido a la derecha. Yo quiero llegar ahí. Ah, aquí ya hemos llegado, ¿no? Oh, pues no lo sé. ¿Eh? Stanley. ¿Tengo pies? No, no tengo pies. Se me ha cerrado la puta puerta, loco. Vale, creo que ha sido culpa mía. I hate Mondays, yo también. Juega, ¿estoy jugando? Vale, voy. No, espérate. Ah, no puedo esto, vale. Derecha. He bajado, ¿no? Antes he bajado. O ¿A dónde he ido? Sí, he ido a la izquierda. Vale, pues ahora voy aquí. No. Hostia, ya. Vale. Estoy en el almacén. Ok. ¿No puedo abrir esta puerta? No. Vale. Yo confío. Vale, puedo hacer aquí. Vaya pedazo de esto, ¿no? ¿Me puedo suicidar? Cuando te perdías de pequeño en el Ikea. Tal cual, ¿eh?
Stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Por ella que ella.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back
Mariela,
into your life.
¿tú crees?
She's
Ella me está esperando. ¿Quién? ¿Quién me está esperando? Creo, no sé. Tengo miedo. Susto me he dado. La mujer de dentro pitos.
You need to be the one to do this.
Entonces toma ese teléfono. ¿Vale? ¿What?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just
Es...
pulling the bread out of the oven.
Mi piso también es el 422. Cherry de segundo... No, Cherry se habrá dormido,
All
Mark.
right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
Jo.
Want to commit their life to you?
Sadji,
I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something.
Me está obligando a ir para
Come
adelante,
inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
No.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Que no. No me deja salir. No me deja salir.
This is a very sad story about the death
No
of
puedo
a
ni seguir.
Stanley.
¿La muerte? Buenos días, empleado. Presione 1 en su teclado. No quiero presionar 1 en el teclado. J. Tengo que presionar 1. Voy a ser Stanley, ¿no? Pulso U. Venga, pulso U.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his
Me va a decir que pulse otro, ¿no? Ya vengo, me voy a bañar, vale. U, P.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch.
Apoca, ese trabajo es de plat morada. Pulsar botones para dinero.
He's coming back to work. Why would he feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life?
¿Puedo no pulsarla? Voy a esperar un minuto, va. Cuéntame un chiste, Stiggy, va. Vamos a esperar un minuto. Hostia, qué rayada, tú, de verdad. Pulsa otra o algo, no. Si pulso otra no pasa nada. J, Q... No. Voy a ver si esperando... Mira, voy a por agua, ¿vale? Y a ver si esperando se triggerea un esto. ¿Qué es lo único que no le puede a un vegetal? No, espera. ¿Qué es lo único que no se puede de un vegetal? ¿Cómo? ¿Qué es lo único que no se puede de un vegetal? Ah, no se pudre. De la silla de ruedas. Madre mía. Madre mía. Voy a por agua, ¿eh? Vale, tiene pinta de que hay que presionar sí o sí.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Pulse 8 para mirar atrás.
So he began to fantasize about his own job.
¿Cómo están hoy? Estamos en el canal de XX Carlitos Gamer YouTube XX.
His boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to be.
Qué raro, ¿no?
As he wandered through this fantasy world,
¿Qué cojones?
he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room.
¿Dónde están los otros dos viewers? ¿Será una Cherry dormida? Cherry está dormida seguro, sí. Se habrá dormido con el móvil encendido.
Down another was a game
A lo
with
mejor.
baby, and he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived
Da igual a
it
ti.
again, and then
Da
again,
igual
and
a poca
again,
dinero para ti.
over and over, wishing beyond hope that it
Cherry
would
es sub,
never
así que no me da
he might
por los
always
anuncios.
feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be?
El tiempo pasa, ¿eh?
Play just one more time. But there is no answer. How
No
could
me
there
jodas.
possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has.
Yo te tengo de fondo mientras estoy recogiendo la
The
ropa.
longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets which life is the real one.
Dios, 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 Dios. Te para irte a dormir.
And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world he can never be anything.
Qué locura, qué locura, qué locura.
That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want.
Pero puedo, o sea, ¿de verdad puedo no hacerle caso y que pase algo?
Purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
No he entendido nada, ¿eh? Ya está, lo ha matado. ¡Hostia, papeles en el suelo!
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by
Por fin me deja meterme.
constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
Vale. Ahora me va a decir que vuelva a ir a la izquierda. Vale, ya hemos ido derecha.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors.
A ver,
He entered the
puedo ir
door
izquierda. Vale, esta es cuando te dice the first left, es esta de aquí.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of
Talk
disbelief,
less, to believe in the
Stanley
magic
decided
world,
to go
the
up
day,
to his boss's office,
Cabrón.
hoping he might find an answer there.
No es lo mismo papeles negros que papeles negros. ¿Cómo? Que papeles negros, vale, sí. Work harder, hard worker, lot of percentage. No hay nada. ¿Habrá alguna pista por ahí, rollo? Do not alter without considering whiteboard. Meeting schedule, group, planning. Rip France. Not efficient. Hello. Fue a la oficina. Fiesta en la oficina los viernes a última época. Debe ser. A ver.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Anuncio. ¿Has visto que cambié mi ortografía para andar en el celu?
Nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
¿Qué pasó?
Baffled,
Nada,
Stanley was
¿qué
still
pa-
in
¿Dónde te has quedado,
the broom
Stiggy?
closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Por la pizarra. No, no pasa nada. No ha pasado nada. Simplemente he venido por aquí. Esta es la sala de esto y me he metido aquí otra vez. Que es un armario que no hay nada.
Really still in the broom closet, standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Vale, aquí no hay nada, no hay nada que hacer. Ya he ido abajo, pero
Coming to a
abajo de
staircase,
antes
Stanley walked upstairs to
será
his
igual
boss's
que abajo de
office.
ahora. Tiene pinta, ¿no?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his
Va a ser el
coworkers
mismo otra vez.
he might be fired from that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk?
Es lo mismo, ¿no?
Because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
Vale, sí, este no. Ese ya lo hemos hecho. ¿Otra vez el teléfono?
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you verify that this is correct?
Ayuda. Espera, me dice algo.
Excellent. Your order will arrive shortly. Thank you again for contacting the Future Happiness
Ayuda.
Foundation.
Tengo el teclado recargado. Lo típico de... No pulsen en el link de no sé qué. De Ibai desnudo. Nudes de Ibai porque te saldrán esto. Vale, abajo ya hemos visto lo que hace.
Stanley came to a set of two
Vale, a
open
ver,
doors.
derecha.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Vale, y ahora entro.
And so he detoured through the maintenance
He bajado aquí.
straight ahead
No,
to
no.
the opposite door and got back on track.
Ya no me acuerdo. Es que claro, ya no me acuerdo. Debería acordarme de estas cosas.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Ábreme otra puerta. Ábreme otra puerta. No me la abre, ¿no?
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Qué hijo puta.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
¡Oh!
Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
No quiero ir por ahí. No quiero ir por ahí. Ábreme esta puerta. Ábreme esta puerta. Ábreme esta puta puerta. No puede, ¿no? Pues por ahí. Ábreme la puerta. No me abre ninguna puerta. Vale. Aquí ya hemos estado.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning.
¿Qué dices?
This time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay. From the top.
Me dice, te voy a reiniciar. Y me reinicia.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Antes había un ordenador. Y en serio me estoy mareando. Había un ordenador que tenía como para poner códigos. ¿Era este? No me acuerdo. Sí, era ese.
Wait.
¡Ah, coño! ¡No están abiertas!
No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be. Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or? Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then.
¿Apoca tienes memoria de abuelo? Un poco sí.
Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
¿What? Hostia, me estoy mareando, ¿eh? Backrooms, tal cual, ¿eh? ¿Dónde cojones estoy? He salido por otra, ¿no? ¿What?
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we just
No, no, no.
to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely
Me he salido por aquí.
to progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay,
Hijo
let's give it
puta.
a shot. Why not?
¡Qué cabrón! Apoca, se escuchan ruidos de fondo tuyo.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Puede ser.
Did it mean
Vale, voy a volverlo a apagar
Stan
todo
decided
otra
to go to
vez.
the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Puede ser, está mi madre por ahí hablando. ¿Ya está? ¿No hay puertas ahora?
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story
Oh, Dios mío.
just came from.
Me estoy volviendo loco, ¿eh?
Back the other direction and see if we missed anything.
¿Qué coño? A ver, entiendo que el juego es así, pero... O sea, evidentemente el juego es así. A ver, tranquilo es. No me estoy pegando de tiros ni nada. Los ordenadores no son iguales. ¿Te has fijado? ¿Te has fijado que los ordenadores que se apagan no están iguales? Tranquilo, pero marea.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes.
Va a bucle infinito, ¿no?
Wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Esto estaba aquí antes. No, 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 no hay bucle. Salgo y no es el mismo, ¿ves?
Now this, well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so.
Te juro que estoy...
Recall, but I believe my story
Te
takes
juro
place
que
in
estoy
this
empezando a tener
village.
miedo, ¿eh?
Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing,
¿Me va a volver a reiniciar?
you win.
Nah.
Congratulations. I know you put in a lot of hard work.
He ganado.
It paid off, so good job.
Yo tener esquizofrenia. Un poco yo también, la verdad.
No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting graded up.
No, me va a reiniciar.
What might happen this time? I have to restart.
The Stanley Parable Adventure Line.
This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Nada, me manda por aquí. Ese ordenador no es igual. A ver, quiero ir por ahí. Voy a seguir la línea. Por aquí no he venido nunca. Vale, espera, espera. ¿Voy por donde la línea o voy por donde el camino de siempre? Voy por el camino de siempre, me da igual. Ah, está cerrado.
No, no, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Uf, voy por el camino de siempre. No hay nada en el camino de siempre. Y me obliga a ir por la línea. Vale, 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 vale. Está bonito. Me gusta, me gusta el juego. Hay una pared, no clip épicamente. Sí, estaría guapo, un no clip y a tomar por saco.
See? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature
Hostia
of life
puta,
itself?
loco.
Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence.
Uf, los juegos que son así no newtonianos me
Now, if
me
my
comen la cabeza.
experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Se ha vuelto loco, ¿no? 10, 8, 9. No estoy entendiendo nada, Ta, tarara, tara, ta. Basta ya, por favor.
Cut the music.
Gracias.
Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No, no, no. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
¿Qué cojones? ¿Qué coño? Hostia, qué locura, tú. No sé yo, ¿eh? Vale, antes he ido por ahí, ¿no? Claro, vale, 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 vale. Voy a ir por donde debería ir siempre. El café está caído. Sigue cerrado. Hostia.
Still missing the doors. Did we make a mistake following the line? Perhaps we could have found the story on our own.
Para allá, entonces. Vamos a seguir a la línea, va. Yo no quiero seguir la línea. Ya me he cansado de seguir al narrador. ¿Otra vez aquí?
No, 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 not again, Line. How could you
Fuck.
have done this to us?
Nos va a volver a
We
reiniciar,
trusted
¿no?
you. After everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Hostia. Ahora que tocará. ¿Otra línea? No dice nada ahora. ¿Te has fijado? No quiere hablar.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting.
Me va a abrir una puerta para que vaya por ahí, ¿no?
Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Me ha abierto aquí. Vale. Ok.
Yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our
Bucle
story
infinito.
to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Bucle infinito. Ah, pues no. What? Hay un contador. ¿Habrán puesto aquí un contador de veces que das la vuelta? Hostia, qué puta locura. O sea, evidentemente te está haciendo un teleport. Pero ahí. Claro, por eso. ¿No? No sé, ¿eh?
Oh, no, not
La
you
puta
again.
línea otra vez.
Stanley, I'd also like to veto the
por
line
culo.
from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just
Habitaciones con monitores.
we should be fine.
Simplemente no le teme, hagas caso y ya está. Vale.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision.
Volvió.
The story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the
Me va a dejar
In
elegir.
fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our
Buah, el contexto. Imposible, Mark, de que haya algún contexto. El contexto. El juego es raro.
Let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one.
Vale.
Another victory for logic.
No,
Come, Stanley.
¿nos va a abrir la derecha?
Destiny awaits.
Vale, solo abierto derecha. ¿Puedes abrir izquierda? No, ¿no? Vale. ¿Qué hay aquí?
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight
¿Cómo?
times?
¿Cómo?
How all this goes?
Vale, a ver.
It's all
Derivate from maintenance room. End up the monitor room. Narrator restart the game. First restart.
am I just
Discover the second door rooms and the many of the other room. Aimless wandering. Narrator restart the games. Second restart. The office is now a dead end. Turn around, find another dead end. ¿Cómo? Elevator building. Narrator restart the game. Third game.
saying all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want
Espera,
to keep
el lore, ¿no?
restarting. I don't want to forget
Adventure line, nonsense philosophy and music. Return to the office. Return to the monitor room.
I won't
Sí, anda.
do it.
Ahora hace algo.
¡Hostia, qué susto me has dado, Mark!
At the time return. Stop.
Los créditos, ¿ganaste? No lo sé. Buenas, theApoCa. Hola, Tommy. No lo sé si he ganado. Es que no sé si estos... ¿He hecho todos estos finales? Yo creo que no, ¿no?
Does that mean did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The whatever it is that made
Hagan
us
clip que
save?
tengo anuncio.
How would we even know?
Perdón, casi le doy un paro. Hostia, casi me matas,
Something happened? So, okay.
El narrador se va, ¿no?
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination.
Se llama
or
The Stanley
journey.
Parable.
They're always saying that life
The
is a
Stanley Parable. Y es un juego de
destination. So
no entender nada.
that's where we are right now.
Somos Stanley, que trabajamos en un curro
Well, in the
que es muy
meantime, if you do happen to have
repetitivo. Y de repente ahora, pues todos mis compañeros han desaparecido. Todos mis compañeros han desaparecido. Y yo tengo
all of his co-workers were
¿Ves?
gone. What could
¿No está el ordenador este? No, aquí no había ordenador. Hemos vuelto a empezar. Voy a apagar. Eso. Tommy, no sabemos cuánto llevamos aquí, más de 16 minutos. Llevamos 55 minutos de juego. Stevie. Vuelvo a hacer el bucle normal. Izquierda. Arriba. Y todo normal. Las backrooms. Sí, parece un poco backrooms. Me he querido los 16 de la pared. 16 llevaba en ese bucle.
Stanley decided to go up to his... Oh, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not coming to a staircase. Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Vale, ¿habrá otro? Al baño ejecutivos. Cuidado. Money in the morning, Monday in the evening, morning for breakfast, money crisp. Vale. Básicamente, dinero, 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 dinero. Ok. Oh. ¡Ay, el pobre panda! Business strategy. ¿Cómo que para arriba? Vale. Creo que el mejor momento del juego, con diferencia, ¿no? Tin, tin, tin. No me muevo, ¿no? En realidad. Es lo mismo. Sí, no me muevo. Tin, tin, tin. Nada. A ver, si pongo otro código o algo así.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill surprise.
He pulsado bien, pero no hace nada. 1, 2, 3, 4. No puedo poner ningún código más. ¿Puedo irme? No me deja. Hijo puta. Ah. No, no puedo hacer nada. Se viene Ikea, cierto, ¿eh? Pero... ¿por qué? Ah. ¿Habla? ¿Narrador? Escape. Para allá.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
No quiero.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Vale. ¿Moriremos? Pues moriremos. No pasa nada. No me lo puedo creer. El random tiene un susto, Mark.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
No voy a morir, ¿no? Ah, sí.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
Otro
In a
narrador.
single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
No, me mata igual, ¿no? ¡Ah, no me ha matado! No me ha matado. De Stanley Parable. ¿Otra vez?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
¿Qué? ¿Lo he conseguido?
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Que Stanley ya estaba muerto. ¿Esta es la oficina? This blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the two doors. The first path at the end was built. The sections have been added. The order of the development remains identical to the first iteration. Sí, ¿no? Este es el primer camino que haces, tal cual, ¿no? Sales, tal, giras derecha, ahí ahí apago los PCs, giras izquierda y tal igual, vale. Corredor. The extension is very important to get right. The corridor has been moved and altered. Como que el esto está aposta ahí. Ah, ya sí, acabó, ¿no? ¿Cómo? And the explanation of the condition really is post. Flying cabinets. No entiendo nada, ¿eh? ¿Vale? The Office. 1. 2. 3. Button sounds. Sounds used through the game and the others are pressed. It mix and stroke. A ver. Pero solo pulso al 5 yo. Quedé con el cerebro al revés. Nada, que ya está. Creo que nos lo hemos pasado, ¿no? Office Computers, este sí lo hemos visto. Este no. Este también. A ver, créditos. Y ya está. Sí, ¿no? Boss Office. ¿Vale? Office Clock. Freedom Ending. Initiation. Freedom Ending. Games Alpha. Countdown Test. Están como enseñando de todas las cosas. Ya está. Sí me lo he pasado. Me he tenido que dejar algo. Voy a buscar un explicación Stanley Parable. No te lo puedes ni imaginar. El cuarto negro. Sí. Ahora voy por allá. Es verdad, la sala cambiaba y no me he dado cuenta. O sea, sí me he dado cuenta, pero no lo he dicho. Vale, ok. El cuarto negro. Estaba aquí, ¿no? Exit. Pone salida.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat
¿Qué?
this game.
¿Qué dices? ¿En serio?
You'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now.
O sea, la única forma de ganar es no jugar al juego.
Don't choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time.
Es Alt F4 y se acaba. Tiene pinta, ¿no? No puedo hacer nada, ¿eh? Tengo que darle a salir. Hostia, qué rarallada. Ah, pues nada. Espero que este sea el final. Hasta luego, vídeo de YouTube.